In 2012, USAID commanded a study to understand how the development sector in Cambodia could benefit from the use of technology. As a result of this study, USAID defined a specific technology program under the name Structuring Partnerships for an Innovative Communications Environment, or SPICE. The program was designed to help civil society organizations increase their impact by using information technology to improve communication with their beneficiaries. The local NGO Open Institute, Cambodia's leading organization on technology for development, was selected by USAID to implement this program.
The SPICE program was divided into two parts: enabling civil society organizations to use new communication channels based on technology to reach out to their beneficiaries, and increasing the ability of these Cambodian beneficiaries to receive these messages and services by improving the technology tools that they owned and by helping them learn to use them better.
The SPICE program organized a brainstorming workshop for each sector in which civil society organizations were active in Cambodia: democracy and human rights, migration and human trafficking, education, health, agriculture, and environment. In each workshop, USAID partners and other civil society organizations helped identify the channels of communication that could effectively improve their communications with beneficiaries, or through which the sector could provide better services to them. Civil society organizations in all sectors identified voice as the main information format that could be used to reach out to their target audience and produce the expected behavior changes. The main reason for this was that voice could be used to project authority, empathy, and adequate metaphors that helped listeners better accept and absorb the messages. While voice is the best solution, calling all beneficiaries one by one and repeating messages is not very efficient. Sustainable use of voice for development requires automatic calls with pre-recorded messages. This technology, known as interactive voice response, or IVR, is often used by companies in developed countries to reduce the number of staff needed to answer the phone. In practice, these systems often annoy customers, making them spend a long time navigating through menus and messages before they reach their goal. Now, when using this technology for development purposes, the experience is quite different. IVR systems deliver exactly the information that the caller wants to hear at a time that is relevant to this person. Messages are presented in a format and tone of voice that induce trust and empathy, helping the audience remember the messages and act on them. The SPICE program tasked itself with creating the necessary tools to allow its partner civil society organizations and the Cambodian government to improve their communications by developing IVR projects. Making IVR possible in a country requires telephony technology and infrastructure, as well as coordination and agreements with all major phone operators. It also involves high running costs. Developing an IVR platform in Cambodia was possible only through a public-private partnership with the Internet service provider EasyCom. While the SPICE program shouldered starting cost, EasyCom assumed all running cost and technological support. Fulfilling their part of the agreement, EasyCom has turned the IVR platform into a low-cost commercial IVR system that is used by civil society organizations and other customers. EasyCom continues to operate the platform even after the completion of the SPICE program, making IVR sustainable.
The partnership with USAID and Open Institute has allowed EasyCom to bring our corporate social responsibility in line with our business goals, thereby developing commercial services that have an impact on society.
The first service to run on the platform was a hotline for the 2013 national elections, operated together with IFES and the Cambodian government's National Election Commission. The service provided information on how to vote, when to vote, valid identification documents, and how to confirm that a person was registered to vote.
The elections hotline was a very successful project, high impact and very low cost for either ourselves or for the voters who called. People were able to call and get the information they needed when they needed it. Over 600,000 voters called, and this was an amazingly successful project.
During the elections, the platform was also used by the National Democratic Institute to create a call center to receive election monitoring phone calls. Other local NGOs used it to send coordination and encouragement messages to activists. The use of IVR has also been adopted by Cambodia's 5 main political parties. With support from the International Republican Institute and the Open Institute, these parties developed their own IVR information sites, publishing updated information directly from the parties themselves. These IVR sites had collectively received tens of thousands of calls by the end of March 2015.
The IVR program has really opened a new channel of communication for political parties to communicate with their constituents, and has the potential to revolutionize how campaigns have been conducted in Cambodia. SPICE made it easy for us to introduce this technology to the parties, and they were very instrumental in helping us to encourage them to use it.
The Czech NGO People in Need was SPICE's first partner in the health sector. For this project, Open Institute used the IVR platform's ability to make outgoing calls to users. The system made phone calls to send People in Need's pre-recorded voice messages to new mothers during the month following the birth of their baby. The messages were carefully developed with the design agency's 17 triggers to ensure that they projected the correct amount of authority, to build trust, as well as the correct amount of empathy and the right metaphors so that the audience would absorb the information and act on it.
In order to have clear and effective messages for our mHealth program, we had to go through a long and complex process. Having Open Institute and SPICE program taking care of all the technical aspects of the project allow us to concentrate on the content development.
4 other NGO services use SPICE's IVR platform to offer health information, either on demand or by pushing pre-recorded messages to users at specific times regarding postnatal care, contraception, nutrition, or HIV/AIDS. 7 partners have developed IVR services to inform citizens about human rights issues or to collect reports on violations of these rights.
So the IVR system of Community Legal Education Center provides education on several legal issues. It also allows citizens to record voiced reports on violation of human rights cases. Also, they can listen to community news. We also use it for a survey of our listenership of our radio program.
SPICE allows us to address issues that make the education environment unhealthy or insecure for children. We are also concerned about situations that expose them into corruption at the early age. Our IVR system is used to anonymously report on these issues from citizens and other stakeholders.
Additional services developed with other partners cover various topics. Some examples are providing information about the rights of indigenous minorities in their own languages, reporting discrimination or violence against women, helping environmental activists communicate with each other, or giving citizens access to independent media.
IVR gives a new channel for those who want to receive the independent information that we provide. Cambodians who live in the location in which our radio program do not reach and who do not have access to the internet can now listen to the information through IVR.
Under the USAID Supporting Forests and Biodiversity Project, PACT is working with Open Institute to develop a mobile phone-based solution to solve the problem of minimal communication and learning among isolated remote forest communities across Cambodia.
After a pilot by the NGO People in Need, the government's National Committee for Disaster Management adopted IVR as one of its mechanisms to quickly inform citizens of upcoming emergencies. Citizens register in the SPICE platform specifying their location. When an emergency situation is detected, a government official records a message with details of the emergency. The message is then broadcast through IVR to all the registered phones in the areas affected by the potential natural disaster. Various IVR services cover other sectors. The International Labor Organization uses the platform to provide information to factory workers and to survey their knowledge. Winrock and Karam have developed applications to facilitate safe migration and prevent human trafficking.
In our project, we found that the migrants calling the IVR number on safe migration, they then disseminate further the information to other people in their communities. And we also found that there are calls from government officials from the provinces and from NGOs that need to get updates on the process to migrate.
A total of 32 IVR services for as many civil society organizations have been supported during the 2.5 years of the program. Open Institute is proud to have the SPICE program be recognized as the Best Mobile Solution for Development in Asia 2014, an award granted by the USAID Regional Office for Asia. While working on IVR, the SPICE program came across situations in which voice was the correct format for information, but where IVR was not adequate. This was because either the amount of time required to give all the information was too long, making the call expensive, or because including images or video was important to convey the message. Open Institute studied how smartphones operate and ended up developing a new technology to solve this problem. The technique applies mixed IVR and web functionalities, creating standalone smartphone applications that deliver voice content just like IVR. These applications do not require any phone calls or internet once installed in the phone. Open Institute named this technology Self-IVR and started developing some basic applications, which rendered the same information as existing IVR services. Adequate applications for Self-IVR soon became clear, together with new ways to use smartphones. The goal of the first successful application of Self-IVR was to inform indigenous minorities of their rights under the land law. It explained to them in their own unwritten languages the procedures for registering their land communally, protecting them from the misuse of economic land concessions. The preliminary fieldwork for the content of the application was performed by the Open Institute and Building Community Voices. Legal advice was provided by the Asia Foundation. Validation and translation was completed by Building Community Voices and the Cambodian Indigenous Youth Association.
We had
the legal know-how and the clear mission to provide legal information to indigenous communities, and yet those communities, they lacked a practical way of getting access to the information, so it was readily available at their fingertips. We found that the Open Institute Self-IVR technology was a perfect response to our problem.
The result was the first tool that allows indigenous minorities to learn about Cambodian law in their own languages. The project also helped develop new ways in which smartphones could be used as a communal tool. As with radio, one phone is sufficient for several listeners at the same time, a usage that does not require a high penetration of smartphones to deliver the service. Education was soon found to be a sector that also could benefit from this new technology. In particular, the problem targeted was the insufficient knowledge of English language by grade 4 teachers, who must now teach this language. Working with the ICT and Education Office of the Ministry of Education and with VSO, Open Institute helped develop a Self-IVR phone application to solve this problem. The application allows the teachers to select any activity from the grade 4 English textbook and listen to the correct pronunciation of words and sentences that they must teach the students through that activity.
Hello, my name is Putty.
Self-IVR technology also allows reminders, dates and times at which voice messages that are already in the phone are to be delivered or pushed to the user, imitating incoming phone calls. At the designated date and time, the phone rings and offers the user the opportunity to listen to a pre-recorded message. This feature is used to reproduce, without phone calls, the IVR system that delivers voice messages to mothers of newborn babies every 3 days. In this case, all the messages are part of an application that is installed in the phone. Several other applications of Self-IVR are under development. Some of them use the gamification capabilities that Open Institute has integrated into Self-IVR technology, turning learning into a game. The gamified applications push questions on a specific topic to the user several times a week, usually following training that the user has already received.
Your question for today: what is the best rate to ventilate a newborn with apnea? The options are 55, 40, 25, or 10.
The answers are used to give users points, allowing them to compare their score with colleagues or Facebook friends. Several of these games are being designed or developed by the Open Institute as a follow-up to the SPICE program. They apply to very specific sectors: health workers, factory workers, or high school students, helping them remember the topics that they have studied.
The USAID Quality Health Services and Social Health Protection projects have directly benefited from SPICE and the know-how that the Open Institute has gained through this program. Bringing them in as partners has moved our projects into a whole new technological dimension.
But not all in SPICE is about voice. The program also worked on solving one of the key problems of the human rights sector: potential retaliation against those who report human rights violations. The Open Institute developed I Saw It, a platform that allows citizens and activists to anonymously report human rights violations and other uncivil acts. Internet was identified as the only channel that could be used to communicate anonymously. It also had the added value of enabling the use of images, video, or GPS location. Calls and SMS were discarded, as they can always be traced to the originating phone. These choices implied the use of connected smartphones as the right tool to prepare these reports. The I Saw It platform is formed by a website where all the reports are published and a phone application that is used to produce the reports. The I Saw It phone application allows reporters to collect information in the form of pictures, video, sound, or text, adding to it time and location information from the phone. This report is anonymously sent to the I Saw It web platform, where all the reports are displayed, organized by topics. It is also possible to see all the reports from the mobile application. While the Open Institute has its own reporting platform based on the I Saw It suite, the software is distributed as open source and used by other organizations that wish to have their own reporting platform, as in the case of the Khmer Youth Network. To better prepare Cambodian civil society organizations in the use of technology-based advocacy, the SPICE program organized Open Cambodia 2014. The event was structured as a 4-day full immersion camp that included over 100 participants from 69 organizations that are working on human rights, migration, human trafficking, democracy, and health. Open Cambodia profited from the advocacy know-how and the event management expertise of the U.S. nonprofit Aspiration, as well as the financial and technical support of the USAID Development Innovations Cambodia program. During the Open Cambodia event, participating civil society organizations analyzed in detail how technology-based advocacy techniques could be applied to their own programs. In the process, they also tightened links to other NGOs working in the same fields. Besides working with civil society organizations, SPICE also made an important effort to help citizens use technology to improve their capacity to receive information in Khmer. A key barrier detected was that in 2012, no more than 10% of the phones in Cambodia were able to send or receive messages in Khmer. Android smartphones, the fastest-growing telephone market, were not able to do it at all. SPICE started working to ensure that existing Android phones could function in Khmer. As part of the program, Open Institute developed several phone applications, including a Khmer keyboard, that gave any Android phone the ability to send and receive messages in Khmer, consult a Khmer dictionary, or surf the web in Khmer language. By March 2015, these applications had been downloaded over 400,000 times. At the same time, the SPICE program created a second public-private partnership with Google Inc., manufacturer of the Android operating system. Google did not have plans to translate Android to Khmer at the time, but in exchange for Open Institute's translating the present version of Android to Khmer, Google agreed to include the translation in its system, maintain the translation, and translate upcoming versions. As a result of this agreement, all modern versions of Android support Khmer and have access to a Khmer language user interface. Smartphones are nevertheless a small part of the phones being used in Cambodia. The SPICE program decided to try to increase the number of phones sold in Cambodia that support Khmer. Research by SPICE had pointed out that most Cambodians were not aware of the ability of their phones to receive Khmer messages. Based on this information, the strategy adopted by the program was to attempt to influence phone purchase decisions at the time they took place. This influence involved creating awareness about the value of buying a phone that supported Khmer. With this purpose, Open Institute did a national campaign that reached 18 provinces, providing shops with graphic displays and posters, bringing to the attention of customers the value of having a phone that was able to receive messages in Khmer. While SPICE cannot claim entire credit for this change, it is valuable to note that the percentage of phones that are able to receive messages in Khmer has risen in Cambodia from approximately 10% in 2012 to a solid 51% by the end of 2014. While basic telephony might be the best way to reach most Cambodians for a few years, it's important to consider the future. A new youth is emerging, empowered socially and technologically. They are accustomed to computer tools and smartphones and are quickly becoming dependent on the internet and social networks as their main source of information. They have turned themselves into the channel through which independent information reaches their older relatives. To accelerate adoption of technology by youth, the SPICE program has supported the BarCamp movement in Cambodia. BarCamps are large, unstructured youth meetings focusing on technology. While in 2012 they were happening only in Phnom Penh and Siem Reap, SPICE brought BarCamps to most of the provincial cities that have universities. By moving young technologists across meetings, USAID and Open Institute created a national network of young people interested in technology. This network now serves as the need for spreading this know-how to their colleagues and friends. Between 2012 and 2014, more than 16,000 young Cambodians attended these BarCamp events.
BarCamps bring together IT professionals, innovators, business, NGO, and students under their own agenda and give training to young people on what they want to learn about technology. They also allow them to network and share experience with each other, create links that extend into society far beyond the reach of technology.
Facilitated by the Open Institute's close relation with the Ministry of Education, Youth, and Sport, SPICE organized technology events in high schools in 18 provinces. The workshops included discussing internet, phones, and social networks. They placed students in situations in which they were forced to understand and decide on the fairness and ethics of different types of actions in social networks. As a result, students became highly aware of the impact of their actions when communicating through social media, learning also how to protect their privacy.
Working with USAID-funded SPICE program and the Open Institute, we have been able to bring student values that they needed for interacting with each other on the internet and in the society at large. The new ideas and materials are being integrated into ICT textbook in grade 11 and 12, which focus on ICT-based professional skill and on vocational orientation for ICT.
In all, counting its voice services, applications, and youth events, the SPICE program has provided information and services to over 1,200,000 Cambodians. All USAID partners in Cambodia have had the opportunity to use new low-cost technology to better reach out to their beneficiaries without requiring additional funding. Most of them have made use of this opportunity. Meanwhile, the support from USAID for the development of Cambodia has been extended to projects that do not receive direct funding from the United States, but which have received support in the form of technological infrastructure and know-how. SPICE has brought to the Cambodian development sector USAID's policy of applying science, technology, innovation, and partnerships to development interventions. It has established the value of centralizing the application of these principles through a local entity that provides support to the rest of civil society organizations, validating a new, effective, and efficient way to implement this policy. SPICE is also a model of sustainability. Working through public-private partnerships that provide value to the private partners, all the services and accomplishments of SPICE remain available to civil society after the program ends.
This is not, nevertheless, the time to stop. Technology continues to move forward, and civil society organizations will continue to increase their efficiency by adopting new upcoming technologies. Our experience at SPICE shows that it is possible and convenient to have these cost-effective technology programs that support such adoption. This approach ensures that civil society organizations are always able to magnify their impact through the proper use of the latest technological trends.